Footage of hypersonic metallic UFOs shown by Pentagon officials at the historic meeting, the hearing they started. UFO sightings are frequent and continuing, Pentagon officials are saying now. This is, I guess this is a disclosure now. The probes have begun. Pentagon officials speaking at the first public hearing on UFOs since the 1960s have shown previously classified footage of an unidentified aerial phenomenon, what we call UFOs, a split-second video of a metallic sphere zooming across the flight path of a military jet at hypersonic speeds. You can understand how hazardous this is. The object captured through the cockpit window of an FA-18 fighter jet in 2021, and this has been going on for decades. So this specific image was captured by the cockpit of a window FA-18 fighter jet 2021, was also seen by the Navy pilot flying the jet and picked up by the plane's sensors, but what exactly it could be remains a mystery. Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Bray presented the video to representatives during the public hearing held by a House Intelligence Subcommittee that saw lawmakers grill him and one other intelligence and defense expert on multiple reports by military pilots of mysterious unidentified aerial phenomena, what we call UFOs, of course. The focus of the hearing was June 2021 Pentagon report that revealed U.S. Navy pilots had reported 144 sightings of UAP since 2004, most of which the department concluded probably do represent physical objects. Now, responding to questions from representatives on the nature of the object, Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Bray said, "I do not have an explanation for what this specific object is." He remarked that since the release of last year's report, the number of reported UAP sightings has grown to more than 400, and that the incidents, many of which occurred in military training areas and designated airspaces and remain unidentified, were, quote, frequent and continuing. Of the 144 UAP sightings included in the June 2021 report, 18 displayed extremely unusual flight behaviors, with the mysterious objects appearing to, quote, remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion, end quote. According to the reports, and the released video clips also showed some of these ostensibly propulsionless craft moving at hypersonic speeds. And it was previously reported, and one piece of footage captured by U.S. Navy appears to show a spherical UFO hovering in midair while bouncing from side to side before plunging into the ocean. Quote, "This hearing and our oversight work has a simple idea at its core. Unidentified aerial phenomena, what we call UFOs, are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way," end quote. Meeting chair and Indiana Representative Andre Carson said in his opening remarks. Also giving testimony at the hearing was Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security Ronald Moultrie, an advisor to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and the organizer of the new Airborne Object Identification Management Synchronization Group's AOI-MSG that was set up to track UAPs. Moultrie said that the Pentagon could not rule out the possibility that the sightings could be connected to extraterrestrial life. Moultrie said, "There are elements of our government engaged in looking for extraterrestrial life. Our goal is not to potentially cover up something. It's to understand what may be out there," end quote. I'll direct you also to yesterday's video concerning the American general Douglas MacArthur, the war hero who warned of a sinister interplanetary action against Earth and us Earthlings, and he warned about that. So I'll direct you to that. You'll see it in yesterday's videos. Now, I guess he wasn't afraid to mention that. And I'd like to mention also the former Defense Minister of Canada, Paul Hellyer, has been for decades talking about extraterrestrials among us, that they look just like us. We could be walking on the street next to them and we wouldn't know they were extraterrestrials. And the fact that they're among us and that various governments across the world are even working with them. So what's going on here? This seems to be some kind of a disclosure. They're saying here that they could be extraterrestrial life. Moultrie said there are elements of our government engaged in looking for extraterrestrial life. He was referring to NASA, of course. He says our goal is not to potentially cover up something, it's to understand what's maybe out there. Bray, however, dismissed the notion that UAPs were extraterrestrial in origin. He says we have detected no emanations within the UAP task force that would suggest it's anything non-terrestrial in origin, he said, referring to emanations as any form of debris or signals from the UAPs. Bray also highlighted that no material or unexplainable wreckage has been found and that Navy pilots had never made any attempt to communicate with the objects. Bray and Moultrie told representatives that most of the sightings were unexplained and could possibly even be dangerous, with Bray highlighting that UAPs had been involved in 11 near collisions with U.S. Army, U.S. military aircraft. Some encounters have even been said to have occurred over sensitive nuclear facilities, such as an alleged incident at Malmstrom Air Base in Montana that saw 10 nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, rendered inoperable while a glowing red orb was seen overhead. Bray says that data is not within the holdings of the UAP task force. I have heard stories, I have not seen the official data on that, he said. Bray also confirmed that UAPs, that is UFOs, have been identified by the militaries of other nations. Allies have seen these. China has set up a UAP task force, Bray said. We share data with some, and some share data with us. Another video released during the hearing showed a night vision recording of multiple flashing triangles gliding through the air. This time the officials did have an explanation, saying that they were visual artifacts produced by the dim light of drones flying overhead as the light passed into the night vision goggles. Bray said this time other U.S. Navy assets also observed unmanned aerial systems nearby and were now reasonably confident that these triangles correlate to the unmanned aerial systems. The live stream hearing was an attempt by lawmakers to bring a degree of transparency to the process through which the Pentagon is investigating the probes going on concerning these unexplained sightings, and to destigmatize the reporting of strange aerial phenomena, according to Representative Carson. Carson said for too long the stigma associated with UAPs has gotten in the way of good intelligence analysis, pilots avoiding reporting or were laughed at when they did, DoD officials relegating the issue to the back room or swept it under the rug entirely, fearful of a skeptical national security community. Today we know better. UAPs are unexplained, it's true, but they're real. They need to be investigated, and any threats they pose need to be mitigated. Now, despite the push for transparency, much of what defense and intelligence experts know about these sightings along the technology they use to detect them still remains classified. Of course, it's for national security reasons. Public hearings was followed by a closed second hearing reserved for classified information. One of Congress's concerns is that the executive branch, the administration, both parties have been sweeping concerns about UAPs under the rug by focusing on events that can be explained and avoiding those that cannot be explained, Carson said. What can you say to give the American people confidence that you're just focusing our attention on low-hanging fruit and on these explanations? The last time an investigation of this type took place was in 1969, when a U.S. Air Force investigation into UFOs called Project Blue Book ended by deeming that no unexplained flying objects had been verified and that none had ever been judged to be a threat to national security. And nearly 50 years later, 2017, Politico and New York Times dropped a series of bombshell whistleblower reports about the Pentagon Secret UFO Research Office, which contained a number of testimonies from the Navy pilots and radar crew who had encountered strange aerial objects on an almost daily basis, quote unquote. And after these reports, President Biden included a requirement in the new National Defense Authorization Act that the military create a new office to investigate these UAPs, alongside producing an annual report, and in addition, the semi-annual briefings to Congress. The 2021 report is not the only recent disclosure that the U.S. government has been secretly documenting strange, seemingly unexplained activity. In April, a Freedom of Information Act FOIA request made by the tabloid The U.S. Sun brought more than 1,500 pages of UFO-related documents to public scrutiny, and the documents database created by Defense Intelligence Agency's secretive Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, that ran from 2007 to 2012, includes reports on more than 300 medical accounts of supposed human interaction with these UFOs, some of which included burn injuries, brain damage, nerve damage, heart palpitations, and headaches from alleged close encounters with anomalous vehicles, and even, of course, from what I remember, even unexplained pregnancies, if you can believe that. That's very strange. This is from Live Science by Ben Turner originally. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.